You ever sit there and just think of what could have been? There's so many instances of something good that nearly happened, but for one reason or another it just didn't pan out. Like, America is good and all, but I swear they're on something good with America too. As I've talked about before, movies fall victim to cancellations all the time. From Star Wars to Elf to Superman, it really seems that nothing is safe until it hits theaters. But what if I told you there were 2 movies that were canceled which were probably bigger than any that I've seen before? A 2-part film in what was once the biggest franchise of all time. Let's take a trip back to 2015, shall we? The much-anticipated sequel to the Avengers, titled Avengers Age of Ultron, is released to theaters. This was a big deal at the time, as the first film was something not done on a scale that size before. A series of movies all culminating into one massive scale film. And when the sequel promises to be even bigger than the first, you better believe nerds quaked in their merchandise. However, while it was a hit, making even more than the first film, it received a middling response, causing Disney to shut down their plans to continue the cinematic universe and focus entirely on Star Wars. The plans they had for the rest of the MCU were wild, with so many different heroes getting their own movie. Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and a bunch of others. But one project stands above the rest in my eyes as the biggest missed opportunity. Avengers 3 and 4. Originally, the third installment was going to be split into 2 parts. The first called Avengers Infinity War, and the second being called Endgame. This would have focused on Thanos being the titular main villain, trying to get the Infinity Stones, which were hinted at in Thor 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy, with the Avengers and even the Guardians going all around the galaxy to stop him. It's not really clear as to why it had to be split into 2 parts, but all we know is the ending of Endgame would have had every hero teaming up in a big battle against Thanos. There were even rumors that SpiderMan was going to join the roster, but it's too unclear how that was going to be handled. If they were just going to merge the Andrew Garfield films into the MCU, or even completely reboot the character. But honestly, I don't find that likely, since Sony owns the rights to the character, and given how popular he is with the Spider-Man game and the Spider-Verse movie, I don't see them just selling him back to Disney.
Well, I was a production assistant on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Age of Ultron. I did believe they wanted to bring Spider-Man in, which of course is a big Sony name.
Really?
Yeah, and a Sony executive came in one day, and we all have to sign NDAs often. That's not uncommon in the industry, but it seemed like a very serious thing at that point, and there were a lot of murmurs around the office, but I can't confirm anything for sure. But that's what I heard.
I'm not sure how plausible it is to revive this, cause it seems most of the people behind these movies have moved on at this point. James Gunn left Marvel and is now helming DC, and it seems that a lot of actors like Scarlett Johansson, Dave Bautista, and Chris Pratt have all moved on to other projects. For now, we can ponder over the little information we've been given about these movies in a franchise that once dominated the industry. It really is surprising that they just canceled the rest of the cinematic universe after just this one movie did so-so with critics. That's like a book series ending on a random installment and saying, well, hope this is the conclusion you were satisfied with. I do hope this sees the light of day someday. I know once a project is canceled and people know that it was canceled, it almost is never revived, but the franchise was making billions before, so there's no reason why it can't prove itself again. I mean, we had to wait over 20 years for Space Jam to come back, and what a warm reception it came back to.
The Marvel superheroes have arrived, superpowered from the forehead to the toes. Watch them change their very shape before your nose.